What is up, everyone? How's chat doing tonight? We got a bit of a full house to start off here. How is everyone doing? How's everyone doing? We had a few requests early on for some reviews, some further explanations about my tool, some questions about that. Just kind of going to give you a rundown and just kind of like the structure for tonight. Um, so we're going to start off, we'll do a little kind of a community update. Something I want to share with you that's important to me. And then we'll get into the State of Zed. Um, and then after that, we will talk about my tool, and updates to that. So if you have questions about that, we can also do some horse analysis um, at that time too. So at any point in time, feel free to drop your horse in chat. I will do my best to remember, but definitely add it in towards the end. And if you want a horse to be evaluated, also kind of include with your horse the horse name, whether you own it or looking to buy it, and then what your strategy is with your horse or with your stable. What is up, Harrison Beck? Farrat, how are you doing, man? Been a while. Been a while. I'm doing all right. Busy personal life, but I'm back. Sean, welcome, my friend. Welcome, welcome. For those of you that don't know or haven't seen it yet, Monday nights, Sean and I have a series out called Zero to Hero, where we take a horse that we see has value, try and race it to try and improve it. It's going to be a 10-week long experiment. We don't know how it's going to turn out. It could be a complete failure. It could be just a total and utter success. We're excited. We don't know, but come join us on this journey, 10-week journey, at least for season one. We may have additional seasons. Sean gave away a horse on our first episode. There may be other giveaways to follow, so stay tuned to this channel, Monday nights, 10 p.m. Central. I want to give a quick shout out to Lil Cap Travis for the follow at the beginning of the stream. Really, really appreciate it. Just quick little chat catch up before we get going. Dally, welcome. Been a while. Catch you on stream, man. Hope you're liking the data. Hope everything works out. For those of you that don't know, Dally was the uh, winner of my giveaway of 250 races analysis. I got a full data sheet for him, as well as a dashboard for him to use, like my old Google Sheets dashboard that I used to have. Sean says, trust the process. Absolutely, it's an experiment. You know, the beautiful thing about Zed is that no one has it completely nailed down. So this could be a total failure. This could be something amazing. We're on a journey to try and figure it out. Farad was on vacation. Oh, welcome back. Hope it was fun. Nick, welcome, welcome, welcome. Absolutely. Nick, I'll get back to you in a second. Veggie Dave, hey. Um, any confirmed word on when the breed price will increase? Solid for Life says, no, I haven't heard anything on that. Not at all. West, no. So it's a horse that West Jerk asked during the series. Do you take a 40 odds donkey in Class 5 and try to make it profitable? No. What we try and do is find a horse in the market that we think has value or maybe isn't being raced up to its full potential, and then we go ahead and try and improve its value, whether that's through odds, whether that's win percent, show percent, or even just overall market value, um, to try and get more out of the horse. Technics Racing, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Chianti, 9 to 5 life for me as well. Yeah, I'm a very, very busy guy. Just started a new 9 to 5 this week, so that's why things have been a little off. But I'll get to you more regular times on that as well. Dashboard is really just the most updated version of that. Solid for Life is my tool, MJ, informatics.com/ZEDalytics. Thank you, West. Really appreciate it. Yes, no, for those of you that are new, maybe haven't been in here, I like to keep and show Zed in a way that's accessible to most. I understand not everyone has the best racer, not everyone has the biggest budget, and I want to do everything I can to try and help you be as successful as possible. Not every horse is going to be profitable. My system isn't guaranteed to work for everyone. It even isn't guaranteed to work at all, but it's what I think right now, given the current state of the game, how you can maybe give yourself a slight edge potentially. Nothing here I say or do is ever financial advice. Want to put that out front. But again, want to try and help the community as much as possible and want to keep put the information out there for the community so you can try and make your own best and most informed decisions. Um, we're going to start off tonight with the State of Zed. I've run this series a few times now. Every, few tens of thousands of races, I like to update it. What this kind of section is just looking at, tonight we're looking at over 180,000 races. And we're going to look at things like colors. Do they affect performance? Color rarity, super rare, different breeds, blood types, kind of where do those fit? A lot of this data I haven't really digested or looked at myself, just because of 9 to 5. I threw these things together. We're going to look at them more or less for the first time together. Keep in mind, a lot of what we're looking at tonight are averages, so there are going to be horses that are outliers, both in the positive and the negative. So again, nothing is set in stone, nothing is definitive. It's think of it as kind of just like a barometer of sorts for the current state of Zed Run. All right. So before we get started with that, though, I want to give a quick shout out to my good friend who's in here, Nick. Nick has been a follower since the beginning. Recently started streaming. Popped in the stream tonight. For those of you that aren't following, it's Nick and a few buddies. Check out his Twitter. I just put in there. He's on Twitch, I believe, as Nick, if you want to go ahead and shoot me or DM me your Twitch, or whether throw it in chat or DM me, that would be awesome. I would love it. So yeah, definitely check these guys out. They're a lot of fun, super nice guys. They've got a really fun stable. Their horses' names are most of them, not all. Some of them are around different size horse nugget boxes, which is pretty fun, kind of funny. Really good content, really good guys. Definitely check it out. Right, let's get into it. Also, people have said that early mid speed doesn't matter. Is that true? Are you talking about in the race itself? Like your speed in, like, let's say you're running 1,000 meters in the first 300 meters, the first 600 meters, and then the last, like those changes in speed? I don't think so, because it's predetermined more or less. Like the visuals in races don't really matter too much. It's fun to watch, but I don't think that's true. I don't know for sure, and I haven't looked at data to back that up, but from what I do know, I don't think it's true. Um, all right, give me 1 second here. Lighting okay tonight? Sound okay tonight? It's been a minute since I've done that. All right. All good. Thank you, Sean. Appreciate it. Okay, so yeah, shout out to Kentucky Fried Horses. Check them out. Oh, you know what? We got this right here. Where's this taking us? Oh, here's their stable link. Check it out. They've got a lot of fun names, some fun horses in there. Yeah, definitely check them. All right, so starting tonight, the State of Zed. Here we go. All right, so our first kind of graphic tonight, we're looking at the race count breakdown by distances. So basically, the colors are just the different distances themselves, and then you can see the top number here is actual distance, and then the bottom is the number of races at that distance. You could see you have 22, 24 really big, 1,600 is insane, is the most. 1,400 is also really big, but 1,000 and 2,600 still not getting any love. We've been following this for a while. Other people have talked about it. It's a somewhat well-known fact. Not everyone knows, but a handful of people do. And for whatever reason, and I don't know why, so if anyone has any theory or reason why, please throw it in chat. But the 1,000, the 2,600 are just so minuscule as far as the overall distribution of races. We do know that horses that run at 1,000 tend to run about 2 kilometers per hour faster or that distance is, not necessarily the horses, but that distance is about 2 kilometers per hour faster than the other distances. Does that have something to do with it? I have no idea. Um, yeah, it's very, very interesting. How they're an entertainment company, and I take that as virtual meant for entertainment. Speed is nothing other than driving entertainment, in your honest opinion. Interesting. Very interesting take, Chianti. Very, very interesting take. Um, are you talking about like speed as a metric or speed as a presentation within the race itself? Um, so kind of here's our distance breakdown. We'll go ahead and move forward now onto the country breakdown. UK and US still really high. Then we have China, Japan, India, Brazil, and kind of as it trickles down, some of these get so small that they don't even have the numbers listed. That's just because of the size of the circle. I could probably adjust that somewhere. Um, and then you got some of these that don't even have the names at all. Yeah, here's kind of a fun little breakdown. Feel free to screenshot any of this tonight, by the way, for your own usage. Totally cool with that. Totally okay with that. Absolutely go for it. Yes, country. This is where the races are ran. Solid for life. Absolutely. Is Australia there? Technics says. Let's find Australia. Where is Australia? Uh, Australia, right here. My mouse is right over it. 4334, right over there in the teal. Um, so next up, we have horses. So this is by color breakdown. Now, a little asterisk to this. In some other color metrics, I don't think it's enough to affect anything. But there are some horses with my data set, with the way that some of these colors are coded and brought over. I use an external file that I personally created to match up the main colors to the individual colors. Some of these colors have like weird characters within them, the way it's like encoded out. So this is not a complete set of every single horse, but I'd say this is probably 98% of them, 97% of them. Some are missing. I'll have to look into why exactly that is and get that cleaned up, but this will give you a general idea of kind of the horse breakdowns and what we're looking at. So Mystical clearly coming in first. Pretty decent distribution between Moon, Earth, Classic, Fiery, and Neptune, and Wilds. The least. Um, this is based by like the color brackets of overall. I have the individualized colors as well, but that's just a lot to look at. So I broke it down this way, just to, and we'll talk about the if color matters a little later in stream. But um, yeah, this is just kind of a breakdown by horse of their colors. Um, so now we're getting into a little bit more of the actual numbers behind different races and number of horses, things like that. So this is looking at 180, almost 181,000 races, total of about 64,000 horses. You can see the distribution of Genesis, Legendary, Exclusive, Elite, Cross, and Pacer. So why I show this is that this is important um, in that some of these numbers we're going to look at later, you'd be like, oh man, Cross and Pacer, like their numbers are really off from kind of the rest of the population. And I feel very strongly that's just due to the population size of what we have right there. Um, Solid for Life, no, that's just overall color breakdown by number of horses that have it. Um, we'll talk about that stuff a little later. Um, so you can see Legendary quickly catching up to the Genesis distribution. Most of these coming across as Buterins. Hands down, like by 4x, the amount below it just about of Finnies. Tons and tons of Buterins in here. And if we look at horses by gender, you can see the distribution again: colt, filly, mare, stallion. So again, very few stallions comparatively. The most colts, then fillies, then and stallions. All right. Looking here, average position by gender. So does gender matter in terms of performance? Looking at overall position, and again, we're looking at averages. There are going to be outliers. So these are all extremely close. I would say, based off of this, in my opinion, no, not at all. Not at all. And then the ever elusive Supercoat numbers are definitely increasing. Um, but I would attribute this difference mostly just to population size. And these are people that are breeding not for the sake of breeding necessarily, but breeding for a Supercoat. So if anything, you might see that performance be a little worse on average, simply for that reason. What is up, Stealth One? How are you doing tonight? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Um, Rust, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Low Cap Travis says a colt that is a better racer is more likely to get bred. Absolutely, which is natural selection for good stallions. Very, very interesting. I agree with that take. Stealth One, glad to hear you're doing well. So yeah, so any additional questions on here, but just keep these breakdowns in mind as we go forward and start to look at other pieces of information. So now we're going to get into kind of a little bit more of the fun stuff. Um, I can make this a little bigger. We can look at individual sections. I'll kind of scroll through them all. But here's a median position by blood and breed. So you've got Nakamoto Genesis. Their median position is 5. Zabo 6, 6, 6. And you can see the Buterins going across 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. And again, there are so few Cross and Pacer that I don't know if this is definitive to say that they are automatically worse. But you're seeing it's relatively close. Especially looking at like legendary exclusive, there really isn't too much of a difference. Finny, a little bit. It definitely gets the best here, and you kind of almost see how it fades as you go down and to the right. Again, there isn't a lot here, especially in these two spots. So that's subject to change, and I'd imagine these numbers would maybe drop. Um, and also, when you look at these, think about like the motivations for people breeding. Are they breeding to race to the bottom to see what happens when they get down to Pacer? Are they breeding because they think they have, good horses that are going to perform well? Like, what is that motivation for it? Um, so keep that in mind too, like in looking at this. Just circling back to chat quick. Yanti Trail says speed equals entertainment. It is certainly entertaining when your horse is sitting in 11th with 500 to go and flies up the front. That is entertaining. That makes top speed and other speed factors a false narrative. Chianti, I disagree with you there. Because the visuals have nothing to do, in my opinion, with speed. The visuals are just a presentation of a predetermined outcome. And I think like speed or like relating to like performance, finish time, etc., does matter in my opinion. But I think there's a clear separation between speed and visuals and like actual performance in visuals. And yes, I agree about your comment about entertainment though, that it does become more entertaining when you have a horse that comes from behind and can do well and win. It's much more exciting to watch, to look at. Um, we get this info somewhere, or is it private spreadsheets? Can't believe how much data you have. Wow, Technics, feel free to screenshot any of this. I may post some of it on Twitter later. I might throw it in my Discord later. I would be more than happy to share this with the overall public. I have no intention of hiding this, hoarding this, or keeping this private. Please feel free to screenshot anything at the very least. Wasp says, so is Legendary Finny. Okay, here we are. Has the same average position as a Zabo Gen to exclusive. Okay, there. Sounds like Finny Legendaries might be a good investment for good racers. Could be. It could be. I can't and I won't necessarily say definitively for sure, but it could be. Um, they're averages. You got to think about the horse distributions. But that could be something to look at or to consider. Like, if I were to be one to digest this and want to take action out of it, uh, wasp jerk. I I would take this. I would then form some hypotheses, form some theories, and then um, try and dig deeper into it, and get your try and prove or just see where those theories lies. Not try and prove the theory, but test the theory. That's a much better word to say. Um, Technic says, looking at the top and bottom biggest variance in speed to try and find a U-shaped horse. Nice. Golden Glow, what is up? How you doing? For those of you that also don't know, my other big stream outside of myself, McLovin, how you doing? So I've got Monday, Sean vs. All. I'm kind of sporadic throughout the week, but then Sunday nights, Golden Glow and I host a show called Inside Zed. It's an interview show. We interview people like Poseidon Racing, Centribus Stables, we've had the Zed Gazette team on. We've had some incredible people on. I'm missing a handful of them, and I'm so sorry. Every single person we've had on, Heroin, Eric Wong, just amazing, amazing people. All of them super nice. I have nothing but the best things to say about them. And King Beaver Shot, thank you, Golden Glow. How could I forget that? Um, so check it out. That is um, Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Central. It's twitch.tv/Zed Run Head. Check it out. And for those of you that may be watching on YouTube or Facebook, specifically YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. I appreciate you to get all of these updates. Yeah, Wasp Griffies are weird. Griffies are weird. Definitely, definitely interesting. Odds after Griffey can change tremendously, so don't give up on a horse after the fact. Um, oh, that's a great question, Solid for Life. I'm gonna have to think about that and come back to it and come back to it. That's a great question. There's a lot that I've taken in. We'll move on. We'll go down. Sorry, we'll go across. We'll look at the average odds now by breed and blood. So again, Cross and Pacer, maybe this would go down a little bit and think about motivations for breeding, but unlike position, um, it's it's a little. This to me is a little more concerning. With these numbers being that much higher, and I wonder if there's a race to the bottom thing that people are looking at. Um, Golden Glow. Sorry for that. Go ahead, maybe hit it a little slower. Um, So yeah, so we've got again you've got the kind of a very similar trend, although Zabo Pacers are struggling right now. That could definitely change within day, week, month, etc. Um, but we've got 12, 12, 13, 14, 13, 14, 15, 15, 14. So like there's almost like a little dip here in elites. Or it's if anything not really a dip, but it's like a consistent. Um, which is kind of interesting. Um, and then Buterin's just going up across the board. Going up across the board. Golden Glow, Rusty Saddle, absolutely. We're gonna get to horse evals a little later in the evening, but I would love to do that. For those of you that want a horse evaluation, we're gonna go through numbers. We're gonna go through my tool, and we will do horse evaluations. Then please include the horse name, if you own it or not, and then what your objective is with either your stable and or your horse. So yeah, kind of grand total is about 1469. So very, very interesting. We'll come down here to average odds in third. So now keep in mind, this is not first through third. This is just third, because that's kind of the point of no return of getting money. And so these are by class. So we've got 0 being your Griffey, class 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And if you look here just kind of at the totals, average odds to finish third, 14, 13 and a half, 13 and a half, 13 and a half, just under 13 and a half, and 13. So kind of interesting jump and change at class 1. I feel like class 1 is just a whole different breed, at least when it comes to finishing in third, than other classes. Just seeing kind of this dip here. Looking at distances overall, 13.6, 13.3, 13.1. So 14 a little lower, 13.3, 13.22, 13, 14, and 14. And I wonder if this is because they're just so few 2,600 races. Yeah, definitely throw horses in chat later. So very, very interesting. K Michael, K Michelle, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Um, and yeah, so any interesting observations that distance 0, so this is class solid for life. This is Griffey. This is Griffey. In a way this kind of makes sense because Griffey is so it's just such a oh no worries, no worries. Is so interesting around um it's just such a mix, such a melting pot of different breeds. Um Z numbers, bloodline, like it almost makes sense to me that this is so all over the place. Um yeah. So very, very interesting. I think these are pretty much close enough, but again, one is just a whole nother animal. But definitely, please feel free. Yes, Sean, I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Feel free to screenshot any of this. Please, 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 please feel free to screenshot any of this. We'll go over to we'll go down first just to kind of continue on. So average odds now in first place. So this is the same chart as above, but instead of looking at just third, we're looking at just first. Um, so kind of take a second to digest this in. Again, kind of weird, lower in Griffey. Um, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, K. Is it Michael, Michelle? Please correct me. I'm sorry if I butcher anyone's name. Please correct me. I'm horrible with names. Um, so we see 854, 9, 6, 9, 9, 10, 9, 9, 9, 8. So class 3 seems interesting. Like this 0.4 almost difference between class 5 and class 3. Is class 3 to finish first? Is that a little tougher? We have a lot of horses maybe that are. So here's the theory that you have horses that are in class that can race 1, 2. Maybe they class down or they hold in class 3. Maybe that's kind of the barrier um, for like U-shaped top performers. Maybe it is class 3. Just a theory. Oh, Lionheart, how you doing? Lionheart, Michelle, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate it. K. Michelle, thank you for correcting me. Lionheart Stables in the building. Welcome, welcome. So happy to have you here. Um, yeah, so I wonder, here's just kind of a little hypothesis, a little theory that, um, I don't know. That's interesting to me. That's interesting to me. And then again, class 1 just, not as bad as class 5 on average. But yeah, average to finish is 9,819 across all classes and distances. Yeah, feel free to screenshot, take a second to digest this in. Maybe consider what classes your horses are in. What are their average odds? You know, here's 3. Here's to finish third. Here's to finish first. Can you finish within this range? This is a little higher than I would have expected. 13.4. Um, Makes me feel a little better about certain horses. But you never know. So then next we're going to take a look more at colors. We talked about that a little bit in the beginning. But here's a little hidden in the corner here, position by coat. So you've got your main coat color. Again, asterisk, not every horse is in here because just a little bit of variance. I couldn't translate over some of the characters very well. Um, let's back up. Veggie Dave. Um, I was thinking that in my head after I said that. And I think Veggie Dave brought up a really good point. Wouldn't 10 mean it's easier to win in class 3? I stand corrected. You're absolutely right, Veggie Dave. Looking at this, just taking this in at face value, you are absolutely right. So maybe class 3 is kind of a sweet spot. I have a horse that does wins by the moment okay in class 2 when I wasn't trying to downclass it. But then when it goes into class 3, it does really, really well, and then it shoots right back up into class 2. Um, So maybe that's kind of a thing. Like this is kind of the spot where this might be a sweet spot for some horses. So let's look at 3 and 4 quick. Let's I think this deserves a little more attention. 1009, 10-1, okay, 9-8, basically the same. Pretty close. 10 to 10-1. Kind of close. This is point 0.2 off. That's about 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 point almost 3 off. Huh. So class 3 at especially at these distances, different than 4. And then if we look at class 3 to 2, pretty close. Yeah, kind of close. Close. About point 0.2, almost point 0.3 if I'm seeing that right. Point 0.1. Yeah, this seems to be like a big gap between 4 and 3. Veggie Dave, great observation. Way to point that out. Um, and then, I mean, the differences here, like, especially up here, even more drastic. Even more drastic. Wasp says, for real, my horse pulls decent odds in class 4. I wonder how it would fare in class 3. Don't know. Maybe it would do better. Maybe it'd struggle. Don't know. Maybe something worth trying. You know, again, we're looking at averages here. There are outliers. So form your own hypotheses. Maybe dig a little deeper. Maybe try and test them out yourself. Yeah, could be interesting. Could be worth a look. Great observation, Veggie Dave. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for bringing that up in chat. Um, all right, position by coat. Let's circle back to this here. So we have. Let's see if I can zoom in even a little more on that. Ooh, that's big. Okay, so you've got your colors again. Asterisk on this. There are some horses I couldn't quite get to transfer over correctly. Um, but this is the majority of horses. I don't think the data would really change too much. Michelle says, have we ever seen odds improve with higher classes? I don't think so. I'm not going to rule that out, but I don't think so. More faves to win at 1600 regardless of class, Try Guy says. 1600's weird. It's a weird spot to be in. We'll look at 1600 a little bit when we go to the tool. All right, so just looking at first, let's look at common, rare, super rare, the average position. So 6.4, 6.5, 6.5. This is almost 6.5. This is about 6.5 and a half. I don't think that's enough to say rare or super rare affects anything at all. It's a theory that I still hear about from time to time. To me, this is pretty clear that rarity is nothing more than looks for now. That doesn't mean it can change. It can't change. Later on, this could absolutely be something that matters. To the extent of which it matters, don't know. But I love what they say in the lore. Someone brought this up earlier about each horse. I would love if they somehow made colors have some sort of effect. Maybe not in every race, maybe only particular races. Maybe it does well, against the rail versus in the middle of the pack. Maybe it does well in certain weather conditions when they introduce that. Maybe certain countries. Maybe against other colors. Muddy Tracks Try Guy. Absolutely. Absolutely. So definitely something to consider later on, but right now it doesn't really seem to affect too much overall. So if we look at the kind of going across at the colors, okay, Michelle, thank you so much for the follow. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. Cosmetic aura or something. Make them glow. Yes, yes, right? Like, give something a little more to stand out to say, hey, this is common, this is rare, this is super rare. Even from a visual standpoint, Sean, I think that's an excellent point that you bring up. Absolutely excellent. So looking at classic, you've got about 649, Earth 647, 648, 65, 65-ish, 649, 6565. I really don't see a difference in color. And again, looking at it from an average standpoint, I really don't see a difference in color. Wasp says, would a good way to determine if your horse would be better in higher classes is to compare odds with top horses in the lower class? Let me think about that for a second. Would a good way to determine if your horse would be better in higher classes is to compare the horses in the class? Possibly. Um, I would also try and see, like, I would take a look at. That's not a great barometer. Um, if you've raced against any horses that have classed up, see how they're doing and see how you did against that horse. It would be a really, really small sample size and it would be really difficult to do, but without actually racing up and checking it, that might be something worthwhile to check. Maybe check your Griffey, maybe check free races against some of those horses. I know Griffey odds are weird. I know Griffey and free odds and performances are weird, but of those horses that are like, wow, like really stellar odds, where are they racing currently? How are they doing? How did you compare odds wise to those horses? So maybe take that into consideration. Um, that might be a way to potentially evaluate that. But great question, Wasp. Um, up against main event and pulled 11 odds. Wow. Maybe an idea. Again, hypothesis, theories. So yeah, that's all we have from these charts. Now we're going to look at kind of Z numbers and how those are kind of affecting things. So here, Centribus, if you're here, I'm so sorry. Or if you watch this later, I am so sorry, Centribus. For those of you that may have some issues with color and seeing certain colors, I apologize. We're going to break this out to the different bloodlines so you can see it a little more clearly. Don't have to really dig into too much detail here because, again, we'll go to the individual sheets soon. But what we're looking at here is each one of these colors is each one of the 4 different bloodlines. And then at the bottom, you're looking at all the Z numbers. We're looking at Z1 through 100 right here, and then the average place 0 through 12 up top. So one thing that we've noticed consistently throughout the data, and I'm not saying this doesn't necessarily means a specific thing, but once you get to about the 21 mark, things get weird. And it could just be that there aren't a lot of horses at that stage yet. Absolutely could be a thing. But if you notice how tight before 21 these distributions are, and then once you hit 21, it goes from like a sniper to a shotgun blast of just pellets everywhere. And the consistency and the strength of those lines going across just absolutely gets crazy. Look at this guy down here, Z64. Maybe he only had one race. Um, and also, yeah, the number of races these horses have, etc. Maybe it was a donkey that stopped racing after breeding. So, like, think about the ways that this could be interpreted, that this could be looked at. Think about the ways of why this data could be what it is. Um, Local boy, great question. It's something that I will definitely consider doing for the next State of Zed, but I think that would be awesome. Love that suggestion. I'm gonna write it down right now. Um, think that'd be nice to look at. Um, and yeah, Wasp, I think that's also a very good point of like having a cutoff for number of races. I think that would be absolutely fantastic. Um, let's see if we can throw something quick. Let's take a look at this for now. I'll see what I can throw together quick. See if I can do some multitasking in here. Um, but yeah, let's take a look. Um, all right. So again, thing to note, at least right here with this data, is the how weird things get at 21. Um, so now if we look at, so right now we're going to look at, these are the red ones, these are Nakamoto's. And we are 1 to 268 in this chart. So if you notice, Nakamoto has great odds at Z1. And then as it kind of goes up, Um, again, gets pretty tight, and around 14, 15, we start to get some variance. And things start to, again, kind of get scattered out. So average place gets pretty tight, and then it gets wild. Um, if we look at you know what, we're gonna try and do this quick. We are going to try and do this quick. Um, here I've got it updated. I'm gonna just throw this together for you guys quick. I love that for 100, something I could throw together pretty quick. Um, we're going to update this sheet. We're gonna go back one, and we are going to go check this out. See if this works. I wanted to. There we go. So now this is for horses that have a minimum of 100 races. A minimum of 100 races. So if we take a look at this, it is definitely much, much tighter. And if we look at, we'll that up. Okay, cool. This will be quick. This will be quick. We can do this. We can do this. So just kind of catching up on chat quick. Try Guy says boots have a wide variance passing along or not ability. Yeah, it's a lot tighter now. It is a lot tighter. Golden Glow, sorry you're having issues, Sean. Thanks for confirming that things seem to be okay. So looking at Z1, now we're going to Z144. Much, much tighter. Things get a little wonky around 21, 22, about 22. But significantly tighter. Again, please feel free to screenshot. And then as we go down, someone has a 144 with at least 100 races. That is absolutely wild. So now let's update. I've got we'll look at Nakamoto's next. I'm gonna just quickly throw this together for you guys. Appreciate the patience. And with the magic of the internet and Microsoft Paint, we will have an updated Nakamoto chart. Okay, so here's before, and here is after minimum 100 races. So you can see here it is much tighter, and Nakamoto's tend to level out about this average place about 6.5, right around Z13, and then it gets a little wider and starts to go up. So again, just very, very, very interesting kind of finish and place there. And now we're going to take a look next at Zabos. Any comments, questions on Nox before we move on to Zabos? I will circle back with chat in a second. All right, just for that. Okay. How much of this is truly the Nakamoto or any bloodline versus the owners learning how the horse races after 100 races? Solid for life, great question. Absolutely great question. Don't really know, and we can't really tell by this. And I think that's, again, a great question, a great hypothesis, and something to consider. If we look at Zabo overall, Z3 to 268, kind of goes flat around 21-ish, and then gets wild if we refresh this. Looking at just with 100 races minimum, see it definitely gets tighter for sure. So you can see it kind of levels off. It increases, but at a fairly slow rate, especially like once you get around 9, and again, right around that 21 mark. Right around that 21 mark. Chianti says skip Zabos and go straight to Finny. Don't show everyone how valuable Zabos are, especially when comparing entry point average cost of Nakamoto. Zabos are so much cheaper. Everyone sleeps on Zabos. I don't know why, but they do. They absolutely do. If you have the funds and it fits your goals and objectives within Zed, consider Zabo. Just kind of saying, look how consistent. On average, they're going to be outliers. You get, and again, right around that 21 mark, things get interesting. So next, we'll look at Finis. This is across all distances. I will update for 100 races here in a second, but please feel free to kind of take this in. We'll do a little before and after comparison. Oh, wow. And so with the Finny, going to get to about Z56. Let's see. Yeah, it is crazy how consistent Zabos are. Zabo legendaries can be purchased for steals on the market. It's nice. Nice, Nick. Nice. So yeah, here's our Finis before 100 races. Then we'll look at 100 races right here. Great suggestion. Whoever threw this in, fantastic suggestion. Um, again, so looking at Z5 to 256, you kind of gets pretty tight. Then right around here, right around 2021, again, it gets weird. It gets weird. Absolutely does. So again, 100 races, you got a little interesting dip here. Around 10, 11 for Finnies. And I've got a 10 Finny legendary that I like a lot. Blue Wings. I just posted about Blue Wings on Twitter. It's a horse, kind of like a mini Zero to Hero in some ways, in that I bought it. It was not being raced well. And then I thought there was opportunity in it. And then since racing has been profitable. So something Vinny's also like not bad, not bad. But yeah, interesting little dip here. Again, what could it mean? What could be driving that? Wasp says I have a female Nakamoto. It might be good to dilute the bloodline. Maybe. Um, Breeding is an interesting animal. So finally, we'll wrap up. Looking at Buterin and Solid for Life. I will get to that question in a minute. So here is Buterin. Just as an ecosystem as a whole, and I will update that for 100 races right now. But right now we're getting right around, so this is a little higher of a 20 mark, about 27. More consistency here. But definitely kind of going up at what I would consider to be like, if we compare, like, let's look at Finney. So you're looking at like 6 to like 7 before it kind of breaks out. Maybe 6.5. Okay, so it's about 1 difference. Zabo, we'll call that 6.575. Okay, yeah, so it's about 1. There's like a distance of 1 between most of these. Yeah, even the Nox a little more before it kind of gets crazy. So that's kind of a little interesting tidbit to note. I don't say the word tidbit often. I couldn't tell you the last time I said that. I will never say that word ever again. All right, so taking a look now at Buterins. Interesting. So keep a lookout at this before. We'll take a look at the after. I just threw it up on my other screen here. I'll share it with you all in a moment. Yeah, take a look at this. We're looking at about 20. We get some variance here, 29, 30, 32-ish. And now we're going to refresh that for 100. And kind of looking at this. Look at this. Look at this. And then right around, yeah, 29, 30 gets kind of crazy again. But this looks much, much tighter. Again, a little dip. If you have a Z, okay, so like a Z11 and 12 Buterin, how do you make those? Why is there a dip here? Is it luck? Is it a small amount of horses? Is it well bred? Is it well raced? What could be going on here? So a lot of questions to ask, a lot of questions to consider around this and where it's going. But again, like this is just shotgun time over here, but fairly still a little dip, and then starts to pretty much go up throughout. Right around the, so it's got what, 11, 12 mark. So something that's interesting, something to consider. Low Z blood typically between 11 12. Absolutely, Three Kizzle. Absolutely. So circling back, so this is kind of all of our data review and talk for the night. This is my kind of wrapping up the State of Zed, um, and kind of what the current ecosystem looks like. A lot of great questions, a lot of great observations, things to consider and think about for yourself. Excuse me. Um, OZ Blood, yeah, absolutely could be. So the next thing I want to talk about is my tool, ZEDalytics, recently had an update. And we had some questions earlier in the night about my tool and kind of what some certain things mean. Solid for Life, you wanted to talk about, um, and we can kind of relate this to my tool. But let's pull up, and I'll show you what I mean by not being raced well. We'll pull up my horse, Blue Wings. And so here's currently we're sitting at 20 races, 10% win rate, 25 didn't show, negative 35.31 ROI, average odds 11.19. So when I bought this horse, we were looking at about, I think this was the cutoff, 8 races, I want to say. Let's check the second. Yeah. So this horse had 8 races. And this is kind of me, like my personal sweet spot. I like horses that don't have a lot of races, um, and but also have like some decent numbers behind them. This didn't have a great win rate, obviously 0 and 12.5. Odds weren't horrible, and I got Blue Wings for 0.2 ETH, so it's a Z10 Legendary Finny. And looking at the horse at this time, if you look at, so what I saw in the horse not being raced well is one, if we look at odds by distance, so it has some potential here. This is free and paid, by the way. So I liked this, I liked this, and I liked this too. And these other distances maybe not as appealing, at least to start. Um, but then if we switch over to paid, a better barometer, in my opinion. We still have over 3 races averaging 9 odds, 10, 8, 9. So I saw some potential in that. Um, but then I also saw some potential because the entry fees of this horse, and it's not always guaranteed, but the entry fee of this horse was higher than the low. So we've got a 0.0068 in here. In my opinion, usually it's not always the case, and when it's not the case, it's a great value. But when you look at a entry fee being higher, usually a horse that's going to be in that race is well raced and more proven because the owner thinks they have a better chance of getting a higher ROI on that horse. So that's why I tend to, especially with these younger horses, stay away from higher entry fees. So I see this as a potential value, 0.0068, 0.0022, 24, 22. So now if we fast forward, so we have, again, 8 races overall, no wins, negative 89 ROI, average odds 11 and 19. So now if we look at when I got the horse, average odds still 11.19, so same odds, but its ROI is now 26.67. 2 wins, 2 places, 0 shows, 33% in the show, 16.67 win. This is what I saw as an opportunity of a horse that was not raced well and had potential to perform. And across now 12 races over its initial 8, performance has improved. And in those races since purchasing, it is profitable. Yeah, Solid Life. I went first and second my first 2 races. Absolutely. One of these wins is a free race. But yeah. So this is kind of, I use this to look at, I like looking at the race data on Know Your Horses. It's a fantastic tool. I also use Know Your Horses for race selection. But going kind of back to standard deviation and now my tool. So this is my tool, mjinformatics.com/ZEDalytics. And basically, a few different ways to use this for those of you that aren't familiar. So one, just kind of loading it, and we'll just give it a quick refresh. Oh, there we go. Um, what you're looking at here, much like what we talked about in the beginning of stream, is that this is like the state of Zed, and you're looking at averages. So average place 6.5 would make sense. Number of races 180,000. Overall earnings, average odds, and you can look at different distances. Win rate, which makes sense. That's about 1 out of 12. First through third, so pretty even. But then the interesting thing here, and I mentioned this earlier, the distance of 1,000. Look at the average speed. This is 62.41. The next fastest is 60.53. Huge difference. So something's up. Something's weird at 1,000. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it is, but something's different. Um, and then you've got a standard deviation, and then a preferred distance calculation. That's a just custom metric that I've made using metrics that I feel are important to determine a horse's preferred distance. It is a barometer. It is not black and white. Nothing here is black and white. That's why I have all these common columns here. So take it all into consideration. A note about preferred distance. So I kind of disclaimer up here. Preferred distance, look at this in isolation, much like I just said. A blank preferred distance isn't necessarily an undesirable distance, but one that just needs more data for the calculation. So when you're looking at my preferred distance calculation, also take in effect the amount of races that you have. If it's a newer horse, it might need a little more time. And we're going to talk about my standard deviation. My standard deviation is a little different than Know Your Horses. Both are great, just for different reasons. Kind of circling. Harrison Beck, you said hi earlier. I'm so sorry I did not give you a shout out. How are you doing? So happy to have you here. Is there another ranking site? Zoomies has been down forever. Zoomies has been down. There might be another ranking site soon. Yeah, I'll say that, Harrison Beck. I miss Zoomies. Zoomies fantastic. Great tool. Great tool. Let's see. Solid for Life says, big ask. Do you have a screenshot of what your tool showed you of Blue Wings before you bought him? How did you use your tool to analyze him? I didn't. I don't have a screenshot of that. If I did, I would definitely provide it. I'm looking at, so with Blue Wings, if I remember correctly, this is just off the top of my head. I saw some good performance in like speed. I thought it was running a little fast. I wasn't looking at standard deviation at that time. And I saw some potential in the way it was finishing that I thought it could be better. That mixed with entering races above the minimum at lower it with only a few races overall, I saw potential in that. I think I did a little bit of competitive analysis. So the horses that did better in those races, how are they doing? Are they still racing really well? Are they in the same class? Are they in a higher class now? How are they racing? Those are kind of things that I consider and look at when I'm evaluating a horse. Thousands of sprint, so you have to run faster. Local boy says maybe. Technics racing. Are you better to run in the high speed variation? Either get first or last ratio. Keeping the horse leveled. Technics, it depends. We'll talk about that in a second. Hey MJ, how do we get access to your tool? Really simple. It is just right here. Just go ahead. You can visit it. It's free. Anyone can access it. Wasp says, can you analyze my horse? Understanding. Absolutely. We'll get to those in a minute. Thank you, DI2TYBI2D, for the follow. Please, if there's a way to pronounce that, please tell me. I'd be more than happy to. Rusty Saddle, we'll definitely take a look at that. Aquila, what is up? Insider information, breaking news, MJ rankings. Uh-oh, local boy. Uh-oh. Maybe. We'll see. It's something I'm considering. I haven't. I'm not happy with it yet. I'm not confident in it yet for something to be publicly shown or considered. Thank you, Harrison Beck. Appreciate it. So we'll see. Anything that would come out would be a ways away, but it's something that I'm considering at this time. Dirty Bird. Oh, hello. Thank you. Of course. I can see that now. Dirty Bird, I appreciate the follow. Thank you and welcome. Wasp says, wish you could Sub. I appreciate that. Little sidebar. I um do not have subs because I am not a Twitch affiliate or partner affiliate, I think it is, because I also put my content um, on other sites and want to try and again keep it open and accessible to as many people as possible as quickly as possible. If you are interested in subbing, I please nothing is ever required, but I would ask him to throw this in chat now. If you have the ability to do so and feel like doing so, go ahead and throw me a tip. That is my tip page right there. Any and all money, no matter how big or small, is greatly, greatly appreciated. But again, there's zero obligation to tip. I do this because I want to share this with the community. I want the community to grow, and I want Zed to remain as accessible and open as possible. So thank you, Wasp. I appreciate it. Strawberry Rhubarb. Absolutely, we'll get there, Stealth. Um, so here's, we had some questions about standard deviation. So use this as kind of like here's where the ecosystem is at, kind of a barometer of things. So next is my standard deviation. My standard deviation doesn't look at finish time. It looks at kilometers per hour. So if you try and compare my standard deviation versus any other tool standard deviation, like Know Your Horses, which is fantastic. Absolutely love their website. Great guys. It's going to be a little different because I'm looking at not finish time, but kilometers per hour. So if there's a discrepancy, that would be why. With standard deviation, that is kind of a measure of how how consistently your horse, like the range at which it runs. So if you had a standard deviation of hypothetically 1, you would, run at a top speed a good amount and run at a bottom speed a good amount. You'd have like that full range. Wasp, thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate that. That was so kind and very, very generous of you. Really means a lot, Wasp. Thank you, thank you, thank you. If you have a lower standard deviation, that means your horse is going to run more consistently at 1 speed. So look at my examples up here. A horse with an average kilometer per hour and a high standard deviation. So average looking at like the whole ecosystem. And I make that pretty easy to do because I have a versus Z column right here. So let's plug in one of these horses. I'm sorry, I'm gonna butcher the order of this. I see Strawberry Rhubarb. Does Strawberry Rhubarb have a lot of races? So go ahead, type in a name of a horse, hit enter, this little pop-up, check the box, and then it will update. So you have 34 races with Strawberry Rhubarb. So here's something we can look at with Strawberry Rhubarb as an example. So Strawberry Rhubarb has an average speed of 60.09 kilometers per hour at a distance of 2,000. This is very similar to my example 1. So versus the Z as a whole, it is 0.01 kilometers slower than the average. So it's really close to average. If we look at now the standard deviation, that's 1.33 versus the community, which is just under. So doing math, we subtract 0.36. The community is probably at 0.97. So you're running 0.36 faster standard deviation. So your horse has a really good average speed, but a wide standard deviation. And so that means there's probably a better chance of this horse being a little bit of a U. And sure enough, across 6 races, look at this distribution. 33%, 33%, 33%. Average place, 6, right in the middle. Average odds, 10.2. Not quite profitable. Haven't won yet, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. So that's kind of an explanation of standard deviation. Alternatively, if you have a horse with a low standard deviation, so that's an example of example 1 up here. Example 2, a horse with a low standard deviation and a higher average kilometers per hour. So that range now is going to shrink considerably. So you have a lower standard deviation, but you run pretty fast, will most likely finish in the higher positions than in the lower positions. Because looking at the general population, it runs faster, and it's going to run at that. So this is the consistency. The standard deviation is the consistency. It's going to run it consistently faster than the community. So let's see if Strawberry Rhubarb has an example of that here. The closest thing, and this isn't necessarily the best example, would be this. So it's running at 0.26 kilometers faster than the community, and it's significantly smaller standard deviation than the community. Not a perfect example, but it kind of somewhat illustrates the point. Um, Obviously, you'd want this to be a little higher and this to be a little lower. This isn't like great, and that's why I say like not a perfect example, but it's an approximation example. Um, Looking at example 3, you have a horse with a lower than average standard deviation and a lower than average speed. That will most likely finish in the middle positions of a race. So let's see if we have an example here. Yeah. So again, not perfect. This is a very small sample size, and I'm just this is one horse, so I'm trying to just relate the examples to it. This was not pre-chosen, just by chance. So if you look at this, the speed is almost a kilometer per hour slower, and the standard deviation is significantly lower than the average. Again, this is one race, so we can't say this. You need a lot more races to really kind of get this ironed out. But for the sake of this hypothetical example, this horse would most likely finish in the middle, and sure enough, 4 through 8. And just kind of looking at that other example, where we, I think it was this one, and it has more here at 1800. Um, Oh, lower and higher speed. Higher speed and lower. Is this one right here. And we got a 50-50 split. Again, only 2 races. You need more races to really to kind of like drill down into this, but that's the way that I recommend looking at standard deviation. Golden Glow, we're talking about standard deviation and horses. Whose horse is Strawberry Rhubarb? Stealth. Yeah, we can take a look at Strawberry quick. Technic says, I understand now. Thank you for the explanation. No problem. No problem at all. Did his parents carry the same distance traits? That is a great question. I don't know. I don't know. Thank you for following the 0Z1. I appreciate it. Please, if I'm mispronouncing your name, please correct me, let you know. Empyrean16 says, Hey MJ, love your tool and stream. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's my go-to. Love it. Love it. That means a lot. I decided to take a punt on an unraced name with the same mother to one of my horses. Uh-oh. I've been trying to race at different distances to see if I can make something out of it. My own zero to hero. Fantastic. I love it. 16 races in, and I'm predicting full donkey. Keen to get your thoughts. Definitely. We'll circle back. I want to get through all these horses for you guys. All right, so yeah, looking at Strawberry, just kind of giving another little piece to Strawberry before we start moving on to the next horse. We will we'll circle back to the horse list in a minute, but want to first shout out to Chad Dizzle. Appreciate the follow so much. Thank you. I don't think it carries down to full Technics. I'm not basing that off data. I'm basing that off of just me looking at it myself anecdotally. I don't think so. All right. Inbreeding, it's happening. Is it good or bad? I think it's good. Follow Zed Gazette for breeding. In my opinion, other people have great breeding suggestions, strategies. Check it out. Oh, quick shout out to Wasp too. His note, their note said, "You're great. Thanks for making your data accessible to everyone for free. Nonetheless, means a lot. Thank you so much. All right, so just kind of looking at Strawberry Rhubarb, just kind of looking at it. So general evaluation, how to use my tool, how I use my tool. I'm not saying this is the right way. I'm not saying that this is the best way. Again, form your own hypotheses, take a look at it, and draw your own conclusions. Use it for you. I just want to try and present data that is accessible to people. Draw your own conclusions. Ignore some of these columns if you want. So preferred distance calculation, what I'm looking for here, so I always start on the right in this column, is a higher number that's sorted from highest to lowest, so pretty easy to start with. And then I want to look for drop off. So usually, like once you get into like zeros here, especially if you have some races under your belt, I start to be like, okay, maybe if it's blank, don't get discouraged by that. It just needs, calculation needs more races. And so take a look at kind of step 2. So my step 1 is check out preferred distance. Okay, so it looks like right here, more clearly, this might be preferred. I might consider these, and then these being blank and 0, maybe I'll check these out. So I start on the right at preferred distance. Now I jump all the way over to the left. Let's look at the number of races. So a lot of these with 0, I see 1, 3, 2, 3, 7, and then 1. So again, few races, maybe I'd consider racing that out if I like what I see in the next columns. Again, this is not necessarily the best way or the only way to look at it, but this is how I look at it. So looking at average place. So we'll start with this preferred distance. So 6 races, okay. Average place of 633, average odds of 10.2. Almost profitable, not too far off. Haven't won yet, and pretty even distribution. And much like we talked about in our example 1 of standard deviation, this horse is running there, and we kind of expect this deviation going forward. So I'm not going to say, don't avoid 2000. It's in my consideration of distances to run at. Looking now at 2200, average place is a little better. In fact, this is the best place across 7 races. Average odds, not bad. As we know from our previous show, the average odds for like 3rd place is 13, so some potential. It's been profitable. We have a win rate, and look at this. I like this a lot. I like 2200. We have 42%. I mean, it's not many races, so keep that in mind. But we've got about 43% here, 1st through 3rd, which is awesome. This number, very low, and 9 through 12 is higher. So to me, that's saying we're going to have a higher concentration 1 through 3, kind of dip down, and then a higher concentration 9 through 12. Looking at speed, it is running slow, though. So that has me a little worried long term. But that's something that could maybe change. So when you kind of see these anomalies, these things are different, and I have no idea. I haven't evaluated this horse ever before. Recommendation I have, if you have more races, 34 is a little low, but switch from paid to free. From all to paid, and you can see now this changes. So we've got 2200, we've got 2000. So let's just kind of let's take a look at all. What do we have? So 2000 was up top, and then 2200 was here, kind of the best 5.7 average place and 6.33, and then these flipped. So definitely take that into consideration. So you have a 16% win rate, 33, 16, 50. Keep that in mind. If you're considering racing your horse at a distance like this, definitely keep that in mind. Free versus paid. So now 2200 becomes much more appealing. Standard deviation and speed are still a little slow, but this is interesting to me. Very, very interesting. So now just kind of moving through. Definitely would be interesting. Snitches get stitches. Would like an idea of how to race her. We'll go on, and I'm sorry I'm going out of order with these horses. Please put your horse back in chat. I will definitely get to it tonight. I want to make sure we get through all of these for all of you. All right, so snitches get stitches at paid. Not a lot of races. So if we look at, okay, so again, starting right, we see this is up here, 2200, 2 races, 8, 4, 1, 8, 2. Okay, 4 through 8. Speed is slow. Standard deviation, slow. Interesting. Understanding, I'll add that. Truthful illusion. Alright, so next I'm just going to write this list down. Rusty saddle. Truthful illusion. Understanding. Stealth one, no problem. Happy to help. Happy to give my opinion. Again, one thing I'll say for this horse too, and for just all horses, if you don't have a lot of races, you've got to race it out. So it's hard to kind of look at this. I see 0.11, I see 0, but I'm looking at these numbers, so starting at the right, then going left. I don't see too much yet to really decide anything. One thing that's standing out to me right here is at 1,000. You're almost 2 at paid kilometers faster. And again, doesn't have a number here, doesn't mean it's bad. for snitches get stitches, I would maybe, so you've raced this horse out. So when I talk about new horses, I talk about racing out, um, and then racing deep. So this horse has been raced out, at least from a paid perspective. Got one, so now it's like, okay, let's start to pick and choose. Let's pick away at distances that could mean something. So I'm almost going to ignore this for now because this is so low, and we got a bunch of blanks and zeros. If we take a look at now 1,000 though, 2 races, average place of second. Average odds aren't bad. Profitable, barely. Hasn't won yet, but first through third 50% of the time, and it's running fast. So you've raced this horse out. Now let's maybe race deep. So maybe I'd look into more 1,000 races. And then as I race maybe 3, 6 more races, well, where does this distribution lie? What does this look like now? What do these numbers look like? Is it still fairly favorable? Is that starting to change? Then maybe I would start to look at a different one. Maybe I'd start to consider 1,400. One race, 4th place, faster by 0.43 kilometers per hour, and about at standard deviation. Maybe I'd start to consider that. So that's how I would look at snitches get stitches. All right, McLovin, hope that helped. And again, what I'm saying isn't necessarily right. It isn't going to guarantee any performance. I will never guarantee performance. This is just how I'm thinking about it and how I'm looking at it, given my feelings on the current state of the game. So definitely something to consider. I want to jump over quick. I neglect this a little bit. Crypto, if you're still there on YouTube, thank you. Looking to add another horse to your stable. Should I get a female, be able to breed my own, or a more expensive distant runner horse? Thanks, Crypto. That depends really on your strategy. Do you want to try and build that out? Are you going for racers to try and be profitable that way? If you have like a long-term vision and want to build out your stable in that way, you think you can get a good female, you think the breeding kind of aligns and makes sense, go for it, Crypto. Go for it. All right, so snitches. Now let's take a look at Rusty Saddle. Rusty Saddle. Up next. Oh, and we had, okay, there we go. That up. All right. So Rusty Saddle, and noticed had one of the biggest variances at 1,800 in kilometers I've seen, but is only on Know Your Horses. It may be times ran different to speed, as you mentioned. Could be Technics. So 1,800 preferred distance by a clear amount. Not a lot of paid races. Standard deviation is higher, and speed on average is higher. So yeah, I would, if you own Rusty Saddle, this to me makes sense. You're profitable. You've got a great win rate across 9 races. Yeah, I would just start pounding 1,800s at paid. Absolutely. If that started to fall off, maybe I would consider 20. So again, this horse has been raced wide. Now let's start to race it deeper. Looking at 1,800s. Truthful Illusion. Next. Mikey, what now? Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Truthful Illusion. Let's take a look. All right, solid for life. Okay, so again, not many races. That's okay. Okay, so I mean, this is, yeah, but it's not super high. Let's see what you got here on the left. Average place, awesome. Odds, okay. Odds are a little higher than I would like to see. Win rate, not yet, but that's okay. It can happen. It could come. First through third, 25%. Ooh, I don't love this. Average speed, you're running it faster. So you have a faster speed at a lower standard deviation. Again, I'm not going to guarantee any results. I'm not going to guarantee any profitability, but I would consider this right here, 2,400. Let's take a look down quick. Is there anything that's jumping out in these columns? So you've got a 13, you've got a 15. Let's see what else we have. You can also sort by any of these columns as well. Just you see this little sort icon, little pops up in the corner. You can click that. It'll sort the data by that as well. You can also isolate certain distances by clicking on them. So here we go. You're a little faster there, but we don't have enough on standard deviation. Maybe consider 22. You're pretty average there. I would start with 24. I'd race that out a little further paid, see what you got. Maybe consider free races to try and bring those odds down. A free 24 could be really exciting. A free 2000, a free 2200 could be really exciting. That's kind of where my mind's going. Truthful Illusion. Again, none of this is financial advice. None of this is ever guaranteed. Understanding I've got up next, and I'm sorry I'm so delayed on chat, but I will catch up. Want to get to these horses for you all, and want to try and help you as best as I can. Also, kind of a note about the tool: if you don't type in the full name, it'll pull these in, and you can kind of find your horse and select it in there. Oh, it's empty. Okay. So, understanding starting on the right. Wow, okay, we've got a pretty big drop off here. And then another pretty big drop off there. So I might consider, without looking at anything else, these two top numbers. I don't even know what these distances are. So 18 and 14. Again, not a lot of paid races. Let's race it out. Average place, okay. Average odds are awesome. You've got some winning here. Win rate of 11%, 33, okay. So I guess this horse is, yep, right around average. A little slower than average, but a little higher standard deviation. Looking at this distribution, this is like an example one horse right here. Example one, I mean this example up here. Let's see. Yeah, I would consider 1800s. Seems like you've got a good thing going there. I would keep that going. Let's just kind of scroll down, see if we see anything else. This is kind of interesting. Average odds of 9, so it's not bad. Yeah, look at these. You've got a few distances that I really think you could play with and have some fun with. So in this case, I'm going to sort by versus Z number and look at the speed. So 1200, standard deviation's low, but your speed's high. Same kind of case here. Yeah, so maybe that's why we're not necessarily seeing these yet, but you don't have many races. So maybe race that out when you're in the future. I would start with 1800s, keep going with those. Not financial advice, but you also have some other options to consider in the future. Pyrian says DR. Or is that an acronym for do your own research? Which I please absolutely do. Absolutely do. Zed is gray. I don't have a silver bullet. No one does. You know, take everything into consideration. Okay, so Dior. Again, not many. Okay, but you've raced wide. Fantastic. I love to see that. Looking here. Okay, this seems to be 1600. Let's look at that. No wins yet. But and okay, so I don't necessarily love 1600. Your place isn't bad. Odds aren't great. So I would go against my preferred distance calculation here. Let's check other odds. Let's check other positions. Let's see what we got. Let's see point. Oh, so you are sorry. You're running faster here. You are running faster here. Um, at a slower standard deviation. I totally misread that. I don't love 2000. I'm going to say that right now. Average place of 9. At least at this, you only have 2 races here, but you're very much slower and a lower standard deviation. I would stick away from 2000. Odds aren't great at 1000. You're running a little bit faster. Oh, but your standard deviation is much lower. I would want to see this number higher to really push 1000. Let's take a look at just kind of scrolling through here. These numbers. I would say so when you don't have great odds and you don't have a lot of races, I would shift the strategy to look at free races, and really start to consider those. Help bring odds down. Find something where maybe you are racing a little better. Like I would maybe consider free races at 1600. You seem to be performing okay there, and it might help bring some of your odds average down. That would be my recommendation if you race it. Maybe save it for breeding. I don't know if it's a male or female. Maybe save it for breeding. Empyrean. Thigi, if I'm saying that right, please let me know. Northern Voyage. purchased it less than 2 weeks ago when he was a class 4, class 3 racer. I'd like to continue racing him, but he rarely finishes last. And therefore, he's stuck in class 2 where the competition is tough. All right, so let's see if we can try and come up with a scenario, a way to, as cleanly as possible, get your horse out of class 2. Northern Voyage. And I will get, I know I'm super far behind in chat. I will get through it all, I promise. All right, Northern Voyage. So if you're looking, so if you have this use case that Thigi has, um, where you're just looking like, hey, I'm doing well, but I'm doing a little too well. Excuse me. I would start to look at the 9 through 12 spot right here, and say, okay, 10 races, 50% of the time paid, you're finishing 9 through 12. 6 races, 50% of the time, you're finishing here at 9 through 12. So this to me jumps out as a good opportunity. I don't love totally just downclassing sandbagging. I've tried it. I've tried a ton of different downclassing strategies. My horse wins by the moment. I ruined its win rate, ruined its ROI. Not that it was ever positive, or like a super amazing horse, but it was much better than it shows right now. But what I like here is that you've got some races. Your odds aren't horrible, especially compared to your overall. So like that shouldn't be affected too much. You're technically profitable. You've got a good win rate, but the percentage of finishes, this middle piece is really, really low. And this number is still, it's considerable, but it's lower than 9 through 12. So this won't completely, looking at these numbers, in my opinion, won't completely ruin the horse, while at the same time giving you a good chance of going down in class. This to me is kind of like an ideal scenario. I would consider 2,400 for Northern Voyage as a distance to run. So what that looks like, if I own this horse and I see that and I want to try and take advantage of that strategy, I would do maybe to start all 3 races at 2,400. Then as you get down in class 2, I would think of races in blocks of 3. So take your horse and run maybe 1 at its preferred distance. Looks like it might be 18, 14, whatever that preferred distance may be. Race it, maybe. So when you get down to class 3, look at where you're sitting within the class. Are you in like the top third of the class? Could you potentially class up in your next 3 races? Are you in the middle? You have no chance of classing up. Could you even class down? If you have a chance of classing up, change the distribution of your races. I would do 2 or even all 3 at 2,400. And then as you kind of work down, work in your preferred distance. So 2 at 24, 1 at preferred distance. Then if you get down low enough, all at your preferred distance. And go from there. That would be my racing strategy for a horse like this. Sign Media Solution says, how do you not ruin a horse if it's winning, but you have little data to go off? Example, less than 10 races Vermilion. Vermilion. I don't think you're going to like my answer, Sign Media. I don't. Vermilion. Let's check them out. 1 paid race. Woo! Class 5. Okay. Let's switch this to all quick. So if you don't want to ruin it, don't have a lot of races, I would consider looking at free races. Especially with these odds, help bring the odds down. Am I looking at the right horse? If a horse is winning and you don't want to ruin ROI, look at free races. Now, in some ways, that could perceive negatively or negatively change the perception of the value if someone's like seriously considering purchasing. But that would help your ROI the most. Otherwise, some people like to retire horses and just sit on them, use them for breeding. Makes it more attractive for breeding in theory. It's tough, Sign Media. It's a very hard spot to be in. What are your goals? Did it hit a goal? Did it improve? Is it holding? Are you scared of losing it? Maybe retire it. Maybe try and sell it. Maybe breed with it. So definitely something to consider. Stealth 1, good luck. Golden Glow says, Rusty Saddle. So let's throw Rusty Saddle in. Golden Glow, I think that's yours. I think I did do Rusty Saddle. I did do Rusty Saddle. Technic says, have a look at speed variance and know your horses also. Does a positive number in your stats mean it's slower than average? A minus number mean faster than average? Okay, so Technic's great point. So let's look at one of my horses. Great clarification question. So looking at this, so versus Zed, so your average speed, you are on average looking at 1200 for my horse across all race types. So I'm running at 60.73 kilometers per hour at a distance of 1200. Versus Zed, my number's 0.2. That means I'm running 0.2 kilometers per hour faster than the average population. If we look here, at 1600, my speed is 60 kilometers an hour. I'm running that at 0.19 kilometers slower than the average population. Same with standard deviation. So at 1200, I am running at 0.89 standard deviation versus Zed. That's 0.06 less than the standard, than the population. And here I'm running at 1.02. That's 0.07 higher than the population of Zed. That's how it's looking at kilometers per hour. That's how you look at the versus Zed number. Ideally, you'd want this to be positive. Ideally, you'd want this to be, it depends on the examples that we talked about up here, but close to 0 or higher potentially. Could be a great horse, especially if this is average. You'd want this to be higher. If you get a chance, Crazy Rich Agent. She's heading to round 2 of tournaments, so need an advantage. Try guy. Let me see what I can do for you. Again, nothing I say here is guaranteed. You can't turn every horse into a winner, and this is not a magic bullet, and none of this is financial advice. Crazy Rich Agent. Let's take a look. Want to just give another shout out quick to Wasp. Really appreciate it. Donation, that was super awesome. Really means a lot and really helps out a lot. Goes to definitely the cost of everything, kind of running the website, future developments with the site and the platform as a whole. But yeah, it really means a lot. So Crazy Rich Agent, right? Not a lot of races. Let's switch this to paid. All right. So I see here that. All right. So looking at speed, so that's a little faster. That's that. So I might see something here at 22,000 potentially. You've got a great average place, pretty solid odds, profitable. First through third, 50% of the time. Haven't won yet. 22,000 seems interesting to me. That's slower, but you've won. And pretty good odds. Let's see what else we got here. 1,200. You've won 1 of 2. Profitable. Okay. First and last. Kilometers per hour is a little slower. Standard deviation's higher. For the sake of a tournament, if this was my horse in a tournament, I would maybe look at 2,000. I don't love that this number's so high on 2,200. I really don't. It's hard with so few races, but that's just kind of where my mind is at to try guy. Lovin' so happy it helps. Exactly. Love it, McLovin. Following the idea of racing wide and racing deep. Sometimes you do have to race more than once at a distance to race wide. Sometimes you do. Mikey, what now? Thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. All right, it's your horse, Golden Glow. Sorry, my bad. 24 of Truthful Illusion 36 races are free and above Class 5. I need to run more in Class 5 and analyze that data. Absolutely solid life. Spread numbers, know your horse, also very impressive. Stealth, use Tableau at work. Nice. Awesome. I've used a handful of BI tools. No problem, solid life. No problem, Wasp. Still haven't purchased a horse yet, Technic says. I'm shopping and waiting. Hope I can win a giveaway I saw on Twitter, but said I need an empty stable. So I haven't got one yet, but going through the marketplace, really enjoying it, seeing how horses go. Love it, Technics. Good luck. Rooting for you. Named it after the acro. Nice, I love it. Empyrean. 2000 range for Dior. Okay, cool. It's a Colts. I got Grim Joe. 0.07 seems like a great price. Am I wrong? 0.07. Let's take a look. Robbie the Realtor. Let's take a look. I'm slowly catching up to chat. I'm trying. But yeah, I will get through. I will not stop streaming until I get through all of these horses. All right, so we don't have anything paid yet, it looks like. We've got one race so far. This might be, yep, this is a Griffey. 0.07, so finished 11th, not a big deal. So average odds. So in your Griffey, your odds are so weird. They're so interesting. It could go up significantly. It could go down significantly. It could be right around where it's at. Speed is a little slow. 0.07, I would say it's a little too early to tell. A little too early to tell, Robbie. A little too early to tell. You're welcome, Empyrean, Harrison Beck, Meadow the Mob Boss. What a name. Raised her wide, need help dialing in on a distance. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Thank you all who have stuck around, trying so hard to catch up, but I want to give everyone a fair assessment. And again, come up with your own thoughts. These are just mine. Maybe you disagree with me, and that's okay. Try it out. I'm just trying to present the data as its own. This is my opinion using the data that I see. Come up with your own hypotheses, much like we talked about earlier. Meadow the Mob Boss. All right. Okay, so nice job racing it wide. Let's take a look at potentially dialing this horse in. So these numbers are all pretty close. So I'm not seeing anything jumping out too much here. Again, the blanks aren't bad. Just needs a little more data. So let's take a look. Average place. Okay. Average odds. Okay, a little higher than I would like to see. But that's all right. You've got some wins. Okay, that's nice. That's not bad. Let's flip this to paid. Let's just see where we're at there, because that could tell a completely different story. Okay, not too terribly different. So I would say right now, average place of 5, place of 2.5. So you're profitable there. Let's take a look at versus Zed. Let's take a look at your speeds. So, okay, so that's a little faster, somewhat faster, but that standard deviation is rough. That's probably why you're seeing a little more in here. It's only 4 races. I would say with this horse, if this was my horse and I were to race it, I would look at free races to go deeper on it, because I don't think I can make a super strong case at this point. So that's faster. This is kind of interesting to me. But again, I'd maybe go the free route. Maybe go the free route. But you're right around average and slightly better standard deviation. I take that back. I don't super love it. I would look at free races, look at 10,000 and 2,200 to start, get a little deeper on that first before going anywhere else, Harrison. Grim Joe has nice parents by the charts. Nice. Hazy Games, welcome. Any days what to test with my first horse, Silly Putty. I love that name. I absolutely love that name. Let's take a look. She had 3 races before me, and I've done 5 paid races under $3. Okay, cool, and only 1 third place so far, most 8th. All right, so looking at paid, we've got 7. Oh, this is hard. We got a lot of 1s and 2s here, so I'd almost skip preferred distance. With these odds, I think the highest winner was something like 30 odds. So winning will be tough. Looking at this, yeah, you've got a higher speed, but standard deviation is hard. I would consider free races and or breeding potential with this horse to try and get an improved offspring. That's kind of where I would stand with it, Hazy. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay. Milio. I'm just gonna copy that directly. Sorry, Sign Media. Let's circle back. Let's circle back for you. And again, just because I say something does not mean it's going to necessarily turn out that way. This looks like it could be the horse. All right, so we got 6 races paid. A little slower on the speeds and a little slower in the standard deviation. Odds are bad. Profitable here. 3 races. I would race this out. Let's look at all distances. 7. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so this is showing some potential. Maybe look at 1,000's kind of interesting. I would race this horse out before moving forward. It's so few races and it's very like compact. I would race this out further, see what you get. Maybe get like the 2-3 race mark and then try and dial it in more. Sign Media. Bought a horse Island Retreat based on the parents, but I can't tell which distance to race. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. Island Retreat. All right, looking at paid. Okay, those odds are a little hard. So I don't know, maybe breeding potential. I don't know the parents. I don't know the full lineage here. But speeds aren't looking too hot, and that's looking a little tough. Let's take a look at all. See if there's any changes when we mix in free. Okay, still not too much. This is okay. That's not verse. I would maybe hang on to breeding if you see breeding potential there, or consider free races with this horse. Same kind on parents. Father's a gen. Already did Rusty Saddle. Thanks, Golden Glow. Try Guy says thanks. You check the stats of Bearing Luck horse. Bearing Luck. I like that name. And again, when I say use a horse for breeding, I don't know. I haven't figured out breeding. My breeding theories change all the time. I don't know if a horse will be good for breeding or not. I can very confidently say that. So Bearing Luck, 68 races. Let's check out paid. 66, awesome, very cool. All right, so looking at like verse Zed, so preferred distance, let's flip that back over. All right, so wow, we've got some numbers here, definitely before drop off. Okay, yep, and the most amount of races, so average place, pretty cool. Average odds, you're in the 12 range, win rates. Okay, so if we look at this, and that's slower. This could be kind of fun. 1,000 could be interesting. You're running it a little faster, no slightly faster standard deviation. Otherwise, I would look at 143.25. You're right on average, kind of smack dab average place of 6. What a surprise! What a surprise! 1,000's interesting for this horse. This one's tough because it's all pretty flat across. So when you run into a situation like this, how I would handle it is I would get your odds are pretty good, get super picky about your race selection, evaluating the competition, and really trying to dial it in so that your average, based on odds when you're evaluating races, your average, your finish, like your odds are within the top 4 compared to the competition. Or that's how I would look at moving that horse forward, because this is really balanced in a way. But yeah, 1,000's interesting to me. I need a few more races there. And 2,200 is also interesting. Golden Glow says, can you compare the win percent male versus female based on genotype? Basically compare Genesis males, Genesis females. Legendary male, legendary female. all the way down to cross. Golden Glow, I'm going to make a note of that. I would not be able to get that on stream tonight. That would require a little more time than I would like, but I'm going to make a note of that, and I will add that to a future stream. Absolutely. Thank you for that comment. I love it. I love it. Thank you for explaining that. You're welcome. Yeah, Wasp, thank you. Thank you. Technics, thank you for explaining. Low Cap Travis, what is up? How much does ETH earnings factor into your preferred distance score? Example, Jared from Subway. Um, ETH alone does not factor into it. I would say performance does more so, if that makes sense. Position makes sense. Yeah, so this is, and look at, yeah, so, and you can see why, like, this has a higher preferred distance calculation, but less winnings. So something to keep into consideration. It really doesn't. There you go. Cap Travis, I hope that answered your question. Try Guy, I'll give 2000 a try. I thought she was maybe a 2200 specials. Could be, could be. You could be right, Try Guy. You could be right. No problem. Check the stats of the horse called Bearing Luck. Thanks, brother. I think I just did. Yeah, I did. Okay, good, good, good. Papusa Joe says Philly Titan, please. Absolutely. Appreciate the please. That was awesome. I'm catching up. I'm catching up. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Philly Titan. I love the name. All right. So, let's see. Average odds. I like that. Let's look over here. Ooh, 85 paid races. All right. Speed's faster. You're okay. Cool. Ooh, this is also kind of interesting to me. 1200. Not many races, so maybe race that out a little bit. Yeah, let's take a look at 2200 and 2000. Which places? Okay. Win rates. Cool. And this is nice. 33% first through third. Don't love that being 44, but nice win rate. Yeah, 1200. 22% win rate. Yeah, don't love that, but that's higher. Oh, sorry. 22, yeah, 33, 44, 22. So yeah, same with a higher win rate. So this might be something worth checking out. Average odds are great. I'm interested in 1200 in this horse. Not guaranteed. You never know where it's going to go, but that's definitely something I'm interested in, Papusa Joe. Just entered Silly Putty Class 5, waiting for the time to pop up. Good luck, Hazy Games. Good luck. 9th career race, 6th under me. Good luck. So, okay, with Life says, with free races, you mean to stay free and within Class 5, right? Free in Class 4 doesn't help, does it? It doesn't help as much. Class, you know, free and within your current class would be the most preferred. Plan is to breed when date comes up. Awesome, Hazy. Good luck with that. Technic says hard to get the data of one race in either range. Need a couple to see prime spot to race, I think. I absolutely agree. Sacrifice a few races searching for its sweet spot. Maybe follow parents' best distances. Might be worth looking into. Might be worth looking into. If you don't want to sacrifice ROI too much, try and be patient. Try and get into a free. Aquila says just entered class 300 meter with snitches get stitches. Those of you who are following recommendations or are using the tool, please let me know. Shoot tweets at me, message me in Discord, give me updates here on stream. I would love to hear how your horses do. Wish you all nothing but the best of luck. I would love it if we all just win. Yes, Hazy, free races are really hard to get into. Big range at 2200, Technic says. Horses Philly Titan. Jeez. Okay, yep, cool. 2000 for Bearing Luck. Gotta run, Harrison. Thank you for stopping by. Great analysis. The other one is Bali Patty. Take a look. And then after this, I want to kind of wrap up. It looks like I'm getting caught up. I want to talk a little bit about, and I've talked about this before, but I want to reiterate the importance of race selection. So type out the word race. And how that can affect things. take a look at paid 34 races, preferred. Okay, so we've got these two and then a bit of a drop off. Okay, so 1800 average place, nice. Okay, odds, profitable, awesome, win rate. Whoo, whoo, and you're only getting wins, and that's equal and that's low. I like this, and that's faster and that's faster. 1800, 1800, 1800. I'm all in on that. I am all in on that. And look at this too. Look at 1,000. Look at 1,000. Not bad either. Look at 1,000. It's your first through 25. Okay, I don't love that, but 1,000's interesting. Let's see what else we got here. Yeah, I would focus more on 1800s. I would focus more on 1800s. Yeah, 1800s excite me right now. I wonder what changes the Zed team are going to make to the odds system. Yeah, interesting to see where that goes. I will say my preferred distance calculation does not factor into odds whatsoever. Has nothing to do with odds. No worries, Papusa Joe. Appreciate you being on stream. So feel free, you can still send in horses if you want, but let's take a look at race selection and what that looks like. So for example, Blue Wings, and what I'm looking at, if you look at Blue Wings, most recent races, let's go even something a little more specific because I'm kind of bouncing around. Let's look at my other horse, the Red Dragon, a horse that I've kind of dialed in. Absolutely, Wasp. Absolutely. Odds are kind of changing a little bit, in my opinion. I think that number is going up a little bit as far as performance goes. So if we look at this horse and we look at where July 10th, yeah. So this was still kind of figuring things out, and then I just decided to dial in at 2,000. These are all 2,000 meter races, and we have an 11th, a second, a third, a 12th, a second, a 10th, and a second. So again, I'm getting both ends of those spectrums, which I like, which is what I'm going for. I can even show you how I use my tool to analyze this in my own horse. Hawk-U error. So let's throw in the Red Dragon here. I'll show you kind of what I'm seeing with my own evaluation. Looking at paid, so 2,000, so preferred distance, okay, we've got these two and then a pretty stark drop off. So average odds sub 10, average place under 6, profitable, win rate, and 50% first through third, 16% 4 through 8, and 33% 9 through 12. Like, I am loving this distance with this horse right now. You can kind of see over my past few races. So this is paid. Look at the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 races at that distance. 7 out of 12. So it took me 5 races to get this distance kind of dialed in. 7 out of 12 have been hitting these numbers, like almost like very, very well. Thank you, Technics. Horse I bred, and I'm just having a lot of fun with. And you can see that its speed is a little slower, and it's a little slower there. But it kind of evens out in a way. So now so to select a race, so I want to go, I'm in class 5 currently, and I want to go at a distance of 2,000. So the way I select a race is I go to, or on Know Your Horses, I go to open. I'm going to go length of 2,000, and I'm going to go to, oh, sorry, we're going to go to, yeah, I did open, I believe, class 5. I see there's one right here. Let's see if we can pull this up just for example. Perfect. For example's sake. So I've got my preferred distance. I've got my preferred class, my current class. So there's a horse called Red Dragon Wasp, and then there's the Red Dragon. My horse is the Red Dragon. They are very, very different. And so I'm going to look here. So I see, so going back to my tool, this is my preferred distance. I know my class is 5. My average odds are 9, 5, 8. So if I were to evaluate this race, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down this list. I'm going to first start at average odds for the class and for the position. So I'm looking at for 958, or I'm looking for better than 958. If my horse isn't the top 4 horses based on odds alone in this column, I'm probably going to pass on that race because I want to give my horse the chance to perform better. Yes, absolutely, solid for life. So many people are sleeping on this. So many people do not know this. So I would go. This race is full, so it's not the perfect example, but I would go to Zed. Find, okay, here's a race. Zed will update faster than Know Your Horses, so you got to be quick, and sometimes races fill up fast. But check this out. So use my tool, find your distance, find your class, get your odds. 958. Little insider info right here. Not really insider info, but this is just my current strategy. So, okay, worse than 958. That's 11. See if I can zoom this in for you guys and gals. Okay, so I'm looking for 958. So good. I'm better than that horse. Better than that horse. This is blank. We'll come back to this. Better than that. Better than that. Blank. Okay, so that's one horse that's better than me at 802. Better. Blank. 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 Man, I wish I would have seen this race. I probably would have entered it. So we have some blanks here, so I'm going to go to the next column. Go at class 5, the next two columns, and 2200. Like, okay, this is pretty close. This is pretty close. So I would imagine this is probably about 11 and a half. I'm probably going to be better than that horse, so we're still at 1. This is 663 and 799. That's probably going to be better than me, so I'm going to say that's 2. We already counted this horse. 31. I'd say I'm probably going to be better than that, and I'm probably going to be better than that. So right now, my horse, based on odds alone, most likely be in 3rd place based on odds. And so this to me would be a great race for me to run in. I would absolutely enter this race. I would get in it in a heartbeat. And this is a $5 race. This isn't even a $2 race. Like 100% I would be in this race. Unfortunately, I missed it, but that's okay. So my average odds are 958. Let's take a look. Let's take a step back here. Let's go to my horse. And if we look at the paid, we'll flip to paid. And we'll go to, it's hard to do because 1, you're going to get some tough competition, 2, races fill up. But when you can do it, I think it's awesome. So 963 at 11 races. So now let's look at this. Okay, so my odds are actually a little higher than what they were previously. We've got some 9s, some 8s. But there have been cases, and with a horse, some other horses, where this can actually drive down your average odds. Oh, I was like looking overall. Let's look at, dial that in. Yeah, look at this. Whoop, whoop. There's 2 right there in the middle. That's when I was dialing it in. 10, 11, 10, 10, 10. There's a 7, 8, 8, 8. So like, yeah, it's pretty good. So that's how I use my tool to find a weight or a place odds and position for a horse to race in, and then also to look at oh wait, some of these class all 5. And then how I take that data and I plug that into your horse's race selector. Again, you got to look at time, you got to look at competition, but to try and find the best positions for my horse. And this is, I mean, a result. Similar kind of thing with Blue Wings. I wasn't as detailed on the race selection earlier with Blue Wings. I've started to do it more. Again, Blue Wings has been profitable in its most recent races. This horse is profitable at this distance after dialing it in. It's not profitable overall, and I hope that one day it can be. Just kidding, it is profitable. Oh, at that distance. Yeah, here's at this distance, 10.71. And yeah, I'm at 0.008, so barely there, but a 60% ROI. If just overall paid, not quite there yet, but we're getting there. So yeah, definitely something to consider. That is my racing strategy. A little bonus tip for you all if you haven't seen it yet. All right. Well, I think we'll end right there, right around the 2-hour mark. Just wanted to say thank you so much, Wasp, for the donation. Thank you, all the followers. Welcome. I'll try and hop on probably starting next week 1 or 2 times a week. Check out my show on Sunday with Golden Glow Master inside Zed Run. We have some awesome interviews. And then also Monday, I'll be doing Zero to Hero with Sean Versal. And then I'll try and be on once or twice just solo next week. Appreciate you all. Hope you all have a great night. Thank you so much. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe. And yes, 2 hours went by so fast. Thank you all. Appreciate you all. We're gonna end the night. Don't leave quite yet. If you still got some time in your evening, we're gonna pop over to raid Sean vs. All because I believe he is streaming right now. So thank you everyone. Appreciate it. Have a great night. Don't feel free to DM me on Twitter, message me on Twitter, DM me on Discord. I'll try and get to you as soon as I can. Uh, All right, we'll be popping over to Sean in about 5 seconds here. Thank you. Reach out, like, follow. Have a great night, everyone.
Welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Welcome to the stream. If you were over in MJ Stables stream, then you were definitely in good hands. Solid for life in the building. What's good? Sign Media is here. It's Wonky is here. Man, the whole gang is here. Welcome, guys. Welcome. Episode 2 of Zero to Hero will be Monday, 10